Summers, who made the trilogy of mummy films for Universal, created the impetus behind the whole mummy ride that we had at the two different parks, both in Orlando and in Hollywood. Our first psychological thrill ride. Matt Groening and Jim Brooks, Fox and Gracie Films. They taught us how to both laugh and scream at the same time in our Simpsons ride here at Universal Studios Florida. And then, of course, Peter Jackson, who was the creative genius behind the new King Kong 360 3D attraction at Universal Studios Hollywood. This rendering is really quite accurate. As our guests are on the tram, which is mounted on a motion base, they are in a completely immersed 3D environment. There are two screens on each side of the tram. They're both 40 feet high. They're concave, and they're 140 feet long, running the full length of the tram. So as you turn left to right to see the action on Skull Island as King Kong takes on these ferocious T-Rexes, you are in the middle of the action. As the T-Rexes are here, Kong is here, they're on top of the roof, the tram is recoiling, and Peter Jackson was a very important part of this as he developed the film, and was a big contributor to the concept that we use in this highly successful attraction, just introduced this past summer in Hollywood. And now, Michael Bay. Michael Bay is creating Transformers attraction for us that we'll have in both Hollywood and Singapore, opening in Singapore late next year, and then mid-2012 in Universal Studios Hollywood. A spectacular adventure of the Transformers fame. So those great storytellers have helped make our parks, as I believe, as appealing as they are, as successful as they are, and really the creative delight that they are to fans from around the world. But as the saying goes, wait, because there is more. There's another fantastic storyteller, world-renowned, unparalleled in her capability to marry three so important ingredients of storytelling, beginning with fantastic environments. This woman's imagination to dream up the environments that the adventures of Harry Potter take place in is nothing short of extraordinary. And beyond the environments, the characters, the emotional connection that we have to the characters, both the good guys and the bad guys, with Ron, Hermione, and Harry himself, is, in my view, really unparalleled in the history of storytelling. And then finally, the spellbinding action that these characters go through have made her the storyteller extraordinaire. And we're so pleased and proud to be able to work with her, and of course, Warner Brothers, in bringing this attraction to life at Islands of Adventure. I believe most of you know that J.K. Rowling penned 7 different books. The Deathly Hallows film that are out there is based on the last book, and it's divided into 2 pieces, so altogether there'll be 8 different films. It's been an enormous privilege for us. And I dare say, one of the reasons for the extreme affinity that our guests have with these characters are these books. An amazing percentage of our visitors have read all these books, and for that matter, seen all these movies. They know these stories. They care about them. To me, it goes beyond just seeing the movies, which is important, very important. But for titles, for intellectual properties that we all know and love, that don't have a background in the viewers having read the books themselves, there's a certain gap there in terms of the affinity that the viewer then has for the property, because they spend a certain amount of time reading the book. And so she has brought them to life, and it's really provided the foundation that allowed people to have their imaginations run wild as they envisioned what the environments and the action and these characters were all about. She's a wonderful lady, an absolute delight to be with, very sweet, very humble, very involved, a real strong point of view, which was greatly appreciated. I consider it a real privilege to have worked with her. The story behind her, just to imagine this young single mom with not enough money to heat her flat, so she goes to a coffee shop to pen these books, now having reportedly more money than the Queen of England, is what I would call a big-time success story of an extraordinary proportion. And of course, the books gave way, logically so, to the Warner Brothers films. And whereas the books work with our imagination, the movies gave us a visual landscape by which we could now really correlate what we had read with what we are seeing and reinforce what we had read about. And that visual landscape was really conducted, if you will, by Stuart Craig, who is an award-winning production designer and responsible for everything that you see in all Harry Potter films. And so what more logical thing would there be for us to do than to, through Warner Brothers, hire him and his team to do all the conceptual development for Wizarding World of Harry Potter. And so, as we worked with Warner, after having come to an agreement about conceptually the commitment that we had to delivering upon the genuine authenticity of Rowling's work and Warner Brothers films, based on that mutual trust and commitment that we had to that high goal of exceeding visitors' expectations when they came to Wizarding World, we began a process. And it began with fully conceptualizing all of the ingredients that would be part of Wizarding World. And after having done so, we put pencil to paper to attempt to determine what it would cost, how long it would take, and everything that would be involved in bringing this to reality. And after having done so, in consensus with Warner, we really felt we were at a point to go to J.K. Rowling and say, here's our plan. Here's why we think it's going to be a great testament to the work you've done and bring delight to visitors from around the world, to tens and tens of millions of visitors. And so off to a very small hotel in Scotland we went, which was a location of J.K.'s choosing, and we, along with Warner, presented to her what our vision would be. Her daughter was there for a portion of it, her husband was there for a portion of it. It was a family affair, and we spent the whole day sharing everything from recipes to food and retail to, of course, the creative experiences, the ride experience, the other attractions that would be part of this experience. And here's the best part, she liked it. She liked everything that she saw and encouraged us to continue the development, which is exactly what we did. And at this point in the process, we were a little over a year into it. And then we began another couple of years of design and engineering, pre-visualization work to understand in real time every second of the entertainment experiences. And after having completed the design process, we felt we were ready to break ground. Part of the design, as I said, was to do a lot of prototyping. You see here in the lower right-hand section, snow on the facades that were then part of the Hogsmeade, became part of Hogsmeade, the model for it. We built those here in Orlando. And you'd say, well, okay, that's nice. You built some facades and you put some snow on. There's a lot more to it. What would snow look like after the snowfall had come and gone, and it had been in somewhat freezing but somewhat thawing temperatures for some period of time? How much would it have slumped? Where would it have slumped? What would the icicles be? How long would the icicles be? What would it look like up against the embankments around the chimneys? And so all that was tweaked, adjusted, cut and recut to get it to a point where we in the Warner team, as I said by Stuart Craig, felt completely comfortable that we had it figured out. The same goes for the rock work. You know, a lot of parks around the world have rock work. At a point, after having built models for the rock work, and then tasked the sculptors up on scaffolding to build the rock work around Hogwarts Castle, and then not liking what we were seeing, and cutting it out and starting it over, and not liking what we were seeing, and going through this process 3 or 4 times, the notion of trying to work from drawings, trying to work from models, proved inadequate for the task at hand, which was to create granite rock, a platelet formation similar to what would be in the northern part of Scotland, with fissures in certain locations of a certain depth, with a certain pattern, with moss in its right location. We had to bring in a consultant. And believe it or not, and you would believe it, of all audiences, there is such a person in our industry, and we hired him and spent considerable time working with him to get the rock work on Hogwarts exactly right. And so that modeling continued. When we looked at how we would bring retail shops to life, you know, our shops are small. And they are cramped. And all of us in the business know, whoa, wait a minute, that's a bad idea. We need to have circulation. We need to allow our customers to get to the merchandise. We need to have good lighting. We need to really make sure that the maximum commercial opportunity is available for us. But you know what? That's not Harry Potter. That's not authentic. That's not genuine. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. And we didn't do that. And so we created stores that were typical of that, created by J.K. Rowling, of that size, of that crampedness, if you will. And the displays that we had to be just as integrated, just as detailed. So here's Clippy's of Clippy's Clip Joint on his throne, in his environment. Clippy, by the way, that's not hair coming out of his head and his chin. This is a candy store. This is Honeydukes. That's licorice. And so that licorice is, of course, edible. All the more authenticity, if you will, brought to the retail theater represented in our stores. Dervish and Bangs, where the wands are sold, where along with ollivanders, where the flying broomsticks are sold, of which we have sold, believe me, many of them. Again, the importance of creating a merchandise selection that really celebrated the products that were introduced in the films, which of course had never been made. They were nothing but words in part of the fiction, that we had to figure out what would that be, make prototypes, and of course have them fabricated and brought here to Orlando. And we did just that. This shot of the exterior of Hogsmeade, and for that matter the Three Broomsticks restaurant. More to authenticity. All those windows are real. Those aren't fake windows with a little lamp behind them. Those windows open. You can go through into the building. Contrary to sets built for films, which are fragments of certain structures, these are full and complete structures. You walk in, you look up, you look right, you look down, and it all has to hang together. It all has to be created. In particular, Three Broomsticks was not part of the Warner Brother films to date when we designed this. Really, Stuart Craig and his team designed this. Interestingly, it was at Wizarding World, Three Broomsticks, before it was in the film. It will be in the final film, the 8th film. So designed for the park, but used in the